All right, so welcome to the June 23rd meeting of the Recreation Commission. At the moment, we only have 3 members, so we are going to start the meeting, but we won't be able to vote on anything because we do not have a quorum. But we can at least go through a lot of our agenda items. So consideration of minutes of previous meetings. We wouldn't be able to vote on it anyway, but I don't believe that we got a copy of the previous minutes, so we will have to table that till the next meeting. Public input. So John, I don't think there's anybody from the public waiting to address us.
No, there's not.
Okay, so we have nobody from the public. Facility and field requests.
I only saw one. The Red Cross was looking to use talent for a blood drive.
Right, but they were looking for that on a more consistent basis, right? Like a regular thing.
Yeah.
So that's something that we'll have to sort of reach out to them and maybe get more details as to. I think we also need to let them know that it's not an air-conditioned facility.
That would be the biggest issue that I see. I think it's a great use of the facility. I just think it would be tough with no AC in the summertime.
Yeah. So, Andy, you want to just sort of reply back to them, maybe get some more info and just let them know before we get too deep into it that it's not air-conditioned. So,
yeah, and
it's a basic sweat box from now till mid-September.
Yeah. I mean, tentatively, if everything looks good, we don't see any reason why they couldn't use it, right? I mean,
right. We would just have to vote on it.
We'd have to vote on it.
Yeah.
Nah.
And you can sort of point them towards the form that we have for the facility request.
Do they have? Would they need insurance for that?
Yes.
They would. Okay.
And I'm sure the Red Cross would have insurance.
Yeah, they probably do.
So
now, if they do it annually around this time, is anyone else using Darrell? Or is the building empty typically?
Well, no, they're looking to do it. I think it looked like
I remember the date.
Every couple of months, right? Maybe quarterly, if I remember correctly. So we would just have to schedule around certain events, and I mean they might be better off using. I think right now they're just scared because the schools are not allowing anybody in, because the schools are pretty much shut down, and obviously there's no students going there, so they don't want anybody outside going in there. But I believe are the cafeteria? I know it's not at LMS, but is the cafeteria at Campbell air conditioned?
I don't know.
I mean, it's got to be. There's no open windows there. They'd have to have some type of air conditioning in there. And the only other request was, and it was last weekend. Was it last weekend with the blast? They were doing their scrimmages. That wasn't really a request, but they just needed to use the restrooms, and they followed a procedure of cleaning. So I guess we'll go on to new business, and the biggest thing, and I know Steve's not here to, I was going to ask him a couple questions on the signage, but you guys all got the email that the Board of Selectmen, as of June 23rd, and the school board have voted to open all playgrounds in the town with proper signage. I don't know what that signage is.
Yeah.
If the signage is available. I'm just a little leery. I mean, we didn't shut them down. They did. But I was just hoping Steve would be here because I have a lot of questions as to other requirements for cleaning and sanitizing on a regular basis. Because obviously we don't have a staff to do that.
The only thing that I can add to that is, I don't know if you saw all the emails going back and forth between the other towns. Some towns had sanitizing, and some towns did not. They just had the signage. I think it's kind of one of those use at your own risk sort of deals.
Right. But I mean, most towns have, especially during the summer, they'll have, kids, they'll have a staff of kids working. So, somebody would be in charge of that. Which...
I did get asked by a friend of mine who would like to go out and pressure wash the playground and stuff like that. And I told her I'd bring it up in the meeting tonight. I don't see any problem with that. The water hookup.
Yeah, I mean, I would just Well, the water hookup is the issue because the closest water is a Talent.
I thought somebody had mentioned there was a hookup out by the shed or the snack shack.
Yeah. I have been asking Kevin Lynch where the location, because he mentioned there is a water spigot closer to the playground. But
No,
it's that Talent, because I was thinking the same, I can go down and clean it.
Yeah, it's the sprinkler system. And we nixed that a couple of years ago, simply because in order to use it, you had to override the controller on the sprinkler system.
Oh,
Gotcha.
People were overriding it, and all of a sudden they'd go there and there'd be no sprinklers for 2 days. Their grass started burning. So that's been removed, I believe, or at least disabled.
Gotcha.
But there is a water spigot right inside the kitchen in Talent, which is what we've used before. And it's nice actually because you can hook it up to the mop sink, which you can do some hot water too. If you have something that's really, really tough and you need some hot, believe me, it doesn't paint right off of the cement. So that's nice.
Thing is, I know a lot of pressure washers, you're not supposed to use more than like 50 feet of hose with them because of the pressure loss by the time it gets to the pressure washer.
That shouldn't be an issue because the pressure washer is the one that builds the pressure up. So
Right.
but it expects a certain demand.
Right.
Yeah, so what would that be? That would be like 300 feet, right? How far is that? That's a good distance.
It would be a few hundred feet.
yeah, but the pressure inside for the mop sink is a lot higher than a regular hose spigot outside. We did it a couple times and it works fine. I mean, you can try it.
Sure. Okay.
Have at it. That'd be great. The other thing was the trash barrels at Dara, and so Steve, you're right. Basically, those barrels aren't put there by us. We never wanted any barrels at any facility simply because, like I said, we don't have a system or, because we don't have somebody that's going to be on a schedule and picking these things up, they would just become big piles of trash. So those barrels belong to softball. So they put them out there for use for softball. So it's really their responsibility to maintain them. If they can't maintain them, if we're finding trash overflowing, we're going to ask them to remove them. It's just what we've done in the past. And really, every facility we have, with the exception of Sawmill, is a carry in, carry out. And Sawmill was just, Dave Mellon had donated a couple of nice barrels for Sawmill. And the fact that we abut the recycling facility, literally, and the road agent entrance is right there. They were able to take care of that for us.
I do. I mean, I would at some point like to look into obtaining, some sort of system of cleaning. Because I'll tell you, last summer when I was going out to the basketball court, it was just littered with trash, like everywhere. Like water bottles and people just throw them like on the ground and just, it's. I don't know. I feel like we need a better solution than nothing. I just don't know what that is.
What I witnessed today or the other day was over at the pavilion, it appears that someone used it for a birthday party, and they did the right thing. They put everything in the trash barrel, but the trash barrel wasn't dumped, which led to animals getting in and spreading it. There was a barrel at the concession stand that wasn't also being dumped, so I dumped that. And then surprisingly, over at the basketball area, there was a barrel, but there was no trash on the ground. Everything was in the barrel, so it was kind of nice.
That's good.
So, yeah. As long as they're dumped on a regular basis, like the food and all, like the basketball court was just water bottles. It was light and easy, and it didn't smell. But if somebody has a birthday party and then they leave the food there, that's a problem. Or at the concession stand and people are dumping the sodas and the sugary drinks and et cetera into the barrel, that can attract the animals. So now, does softball maintain the concession stand also? Should they be dumping that barrel?
Oh yeah, I mean that's
right outside the building.
Yeah, I mean basically we've told the groups in the past, if they put the barrel in a facility, they're responsible to maintain it. We put the dumpster there so they can dump it into the dumpster, but most parks, like Brickyard, we had an issue with neighbors because the barrels would overflow or whatever. So it was probably 8 years ago or so. We strictly went carry in, carry out, took the barrels out of there, and knock on wood, I will tell you that the trash issue down there is basically non-existent because people know I'm leaving with what I come with, and the coaches are responsible for it, and also soccer does a good job of patrolling the area. They'll pick up, they'll do their spring cleanup, but they'll also kind of make it part of their routine to make sure that the area is clean. Baseball does the same thing at their 2 facilities. Softball, the one thing with softball is that Dara is a lot more than just softball. There's the playground. There's a lot of other things in the basketball courts. So it's not really something that we're going to tell the softball people, hey, go over and pick up the basketball courts. But that's one of the reasons that, like when Jason runs his summer basketball program, it's nice because now we have a group that's using that. And part of the, we ask, hey, at the beginning of the season, can you guys do a cleanup? Just pick the things up. And signage is good.
A barrel sitting there implies that it can be used and it's maintained, and which in fact it is not.
Right. So I'll talk to
maybe
Kevin and see about with softball. If they want to use them.
Let's remove the barrel at the pavilion. We'll leave the one at the concession stand. Unfortunately, that'll probably get overstuffed by the people at the pavilion. But there'll be less. Maybe people will be more apt to carry their trash at least to the dumpster instead of leaving it at the pavilion. In the basketball court, if they're using the barrel, I'll swing by once a week, whatever, and dump it. I don't have a problem with that. I'd rather pick it up out of a barrel than pick it up off the ground.
Yeah.
But I think the pavilion, people are using it for the right reason, but they don't realize it should be a carry in, carry out, or at least haul your own trash to the dumpster.
And, maybe it's something that we look, because we used to, before when we had Ben working for us, we did have somebody that was doing outside grounds. So that was part of our budget. And once a week he would make the rounds and hit sometimes we'd need it more than once a week, but at least once a week he was sitting there and making sure every barrel was dumped, and where it should be, and it was chained in place, etc. But since then, our budget's gone down a little bit. We only have a line item for maintenance inside Talent Hall, and that's kind of limited to about 3 or 4 hours a week. So we could look at that. Might be something that we really want to look at for next year in our budget and figure out what that would cost, what the timing, how much time it would take.
And not for nothing, like I usually, like last year, I would go down there a couple times a week anyway. So I would always just pick up and empty barrels and do stuff like that because I'd take my kids down to the playground. So this is kind of a weird year. But so maybe next year will be less of an issue, once stuff is back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe a sign saying, please, dump the trash barrels or something, letting people know that they're not maintained. Either carry in, carry out, or a sign saying, please,
Yeah, but you can't really have a carry in, carry out and a trash barrel.
Right.
It's people like, it's like saying enter, use other door and locking the other door.
Or the speed bumps being out in front of Darren Pond, but we tell people not to drive down there.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's
the only other thing is at the playground is that big pine tree that fell.
Yeah.
Can we get the highway garage? It looks like they were down there wanting to cut it up. There's still a lot of branches and a good sized log that needs to be cut up and chipped or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask Kevin and see if that can be, see if they have the equipment to do that. And if it comes to chipping, maybe we, it might be something that we look for some volunteers. We go down to rent a chipper for a weekend, and because we could probably.
Well, didn't the town buy a chipper this year?
Oh, they did.
I thought they picked up a chipper, wood chipper.
Oh, okay, I'll find out. Because that would be good. Because we could probably use some more wood shavings or clippings for underneath the ropes course. Sure,
And
Coach
I
K
was,
would
I
like
was
to.
going to ask that same question. Is that something that they can chip and just blow it all over the place? It is
Yep.
fine. It may be a little sticky, but it's still.
But it's hopefully never used. It's just there in case they fall off the ropes course. So, all right, I'll make a note of that.
I'll volunteer my time to help them cut it and move it and clean it up.
Okay.
Same. I'll help too if it works time wise.
All right, so I'll contact Kevin on that. And all right. Anything else for new business?
Andy, just real quick, is the talent request form on our website? Is that
Yes,
okay?
it should be
Good.
there.
I thought.
All right.
Do you need the link, Andy? Or you got it?
Yeah, if you don't mind emailing it to me, if you have it right on hand, that'd be great.
Yeah, will do.
All right. And then for old business, the Summer Basketball League, I did talk to Jason Combe. Like I said, what he's doing is he's contacting potential players. He's doing registrations, but holding off, and letting them know that this is contingent on the state, the town, and us okaying in that order. So he just wants to be ready to go if he gets the thumbs up. So he's going to collect checks, but not bring them to town hall and process that unless we get to go ahead.
Just beware. It shouldn't be an issue, but I saw something about it. Checks can't be more than 6 months old.
Right. So, I mean, basically he's going to collect them. And then if we don't give him the go ahead by mid-July, he's going to be returning them. If he does get it mid-July, we'll be depositing it. So we're talking probably 90 days tops.
Perfect.
I think that was it and there were some questions that I got to talk to him about that Steve Weber had mentioned about the insurance for the officials. So we have to sort of figure that out because depends on if he's using patched officials because they get their insurance through IAOB, whatever it is. So we'll have to figure that out. And there's about $600 left over from last year's, because what happens is his money goes in and out of the revolving fund. So he's going to actually buy the shirts so that he's ready for the league. There's that money in the revolving fund for that. And that way, if the league doesn't happen, he'll still have the shirts for next year. Eventually, they're going to need.
That's going to be on the outside basketball court, right?
Yes.
So when I was down there today, 3 of the nets are ripped. So we need new nets, probably 4 new nets.
Okay. That's because kids are grabbing the nets, trying to pull themselves up to the rim.
Exactly.
All right. Any other business?
I think that's it.
All right. So I guess we can't vote to adjourn. So whatever. I don't know. John probably knows better than I do, but
it's a non-meeting at this point.
Yeah. So, but at least it's an informational session, right? All right. So I guess we're good.
All right.
We don't need to officially adjourn. Thank you, gentlemen, for.
So we have a month until the next one, July 23rd ish, or
Yeah, so we'll go into one a month. We'll go to the end of the fourth Tuesday of July.
so the 28th.
Okay, so the 28th. So Russ, if you got that, and John, so our next meeting won't be until the 28th of July.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely plan on it unless you hear otherwise, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'll have Peter include you guys on the edge. I'll let him know to include you when.
Yeah, and we got to get that done a little earlier. We should probably do it the Wednesday or Thursday of the week prior, so that by Friday everybody's on board with the agenda, and that would be good.
So Andy, if we're not going to meet till the end of July, and summer rec basketball needs an answer by mid-July. Should we have to have an emergency meeting?
Well, that's
when
not
is he
really,
scheduling basketball?
it's not really our call. That's really comes down to the Board of Selectmen. Allowing,
Okay.
whatever the governor allows, and then the state allows, the town allows. They're not normally programmed, like they're not an outside program. They're actually a subcommittee of us. So,
When is he trying to get in? When does he want to start? Middle of August?
he wants to
Middle of
start
July?
the week after July 4th.
Okay.
So what is that? Starting the 6th? I think July's 4th. Yeah, I think it's Monday the 6th. He's looking to start. So
We'll just play it by ear until then.
Yep. All right. Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
That sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.